Good morning, Southern Oregon. I'm Dave Sidden, Executive Director here at Wildlife Images. Today we're going to do a little segment on eggs because it's something that's really fascinating, and of course we deal with a lot here at Wildlife Images. Unfortunately, people will be out trimming brush and something and they'll find a nest full of eggs, and of course they'll bring them into us. And oftentimes we have to incubate the eggs, hatch the babies, and try to get them back out in the wild. So there's all sorts of strategies for different types of nests and the different size of eggs proportionate to the birds. And of course, one of the things people don't realize that the sacrifices a bird parent makes to lay an egg. The females in most birds will metabolize their own skeleton to produce the calcium to make an egg. So they can metabolize up to about 25% of their own skeleton, use that calcium to produce an egg. And there's two types of eggs that are typically laid by our North American birds. There are altricial birds, and altricial birds mean they're helpless. They're typically hatched, they're naked, they can't open their eyes, they cannot thermoregulate, they are solely dependent on their parents for their survival. And it takes both parents to work with them to ensure they survive. It's typically things like hawks or owls, woodpeckers. All of these guys are altricial, so they're completely parent dependent, and their incubation cycle is much shorter than the other type of an egg, which is precocial. Precocial eggs are something you'd see like a peacock or a chicken or a quail. They hatch, they have a longer incubation period by about a week, longer than the altricial birds. When they hatch, the birds are feathered, they have their eyes open, they're mobile, and they can thermoregulate. So these birds can go out on their own, finding their own food, taking care of themselves. They do depend on their parents for guidance and protection, but other than that, they're pretty independent. So that's altricial versus precocial eggs. Well, and some of the different types of eggs that, of course, that are out there are things like, these look like avocados when they're fresh. They're usually a darker green color. This is an emu egg, and it's one of the bigger eggs, and of course, ostriches, which make a lot bigger eggs. And when I was a youngster, I grew up, my father's friend had one of the largest oology collections on Earth, which is the collection of eggs. He had thousands and thousands of eggs, including even one from an elephantorus bird, which was about 6 times the size of an ostrich egg, about that big. And I remember as a child picking up the egg, and I could rotate the egg and you'd hear the embryo inside clunking around inside there. So it's amazing the different types of eggs. Then of course there are other eggs that we deal with also. These are very, very thin, and in the normal state, they're kind of squishy. They're not hard like a bird egg. These are reptile eggs from a snake or turtle. Any of these eggs like this don't have the hard calcium on the outside. They're soft, more pliable. They typically rely on not incubation by the parent. They have to rely on the natural temperatures on the outside. So they're typically buried, something like that. Keeps the moisture in, keeps them protected from enemies as well. So all the eggs have really different strategies that are very important, and it's oftentimes very difficult to identify the types of eggs we have. And that reminds us, coming up on May 13th, we're going to be having our Mother's Day celebration here at Wildlife Images. So if you are a mom or you have a mom that you'd like to appreciate, come out here and see the animals up close and personal. Think of May 13th as a great day to bring her out here for our Mother's Day brunch. It's an amazing day out here. So if you'd like more information about Wildlife Images, how to become a donor to put us in your estate planning, how to become a volunteer, any of those things, log on to the Wildlife Images website at wildlifeimages.org. That will take you to a place where you can get all the information you'd like. So we'll look forward to seeing you next time on another episode of Walking the Wild Side.